Okay, so when you're creating, we're going to start by creating a plain seam. And when you're sewing fabrics together, you want to sew the part that's going to be facing out, so the seam's on the inside. So the fabrics generally have a right side and a wrong side. And the right side is the side with the print on it, and the wrong side is the side where sometimes the print shows through or is plain. So what I want to do to make sure that I'm going to have my seam on the right side is I'm going to place my fabrics right sides together. So the right sides are going to kiss. I'm going to line up the edges, and because, even though these are small pieces of fabric, we don't want them to move around when we're sewing, we're going to pin them together. And we're going to make sure that we pin perpendicular to the cut line. Oops, that wasn't a very good pinning. There we go, perpendicular to the cut line. I'm going to go to my sewing machine. I'm going to make sure all my settings are correct on it. And they are not, so I'm going to fix them. So for this one, I want a 2.5-inch stitch length, and I want a straight stitch pattern with the needle in the center. So I'm going to go down to my throat plate, and I'm going to line this up with the 15 line. That is the standard seam allowance. So I'm lining up the edge of my fabric with the 15 line. I'm going to put my presser foot down, so my fabric is just under the needle area, and I'm going to turn my hand wheel to put the fabric in. I'm going to sew forward a couple stitches, and then I need to back stitch to lock my stitches in. So I'm going to hold down the back stitch lever, back stitch a bit, let it go, and then stitch forward. I'm going to slowly stitch forward, and as I come to each pin, I'm going to pull it out and keep stitching. Get to the other end. I'm going to back stitch a little bit. I'm going to lift my presser foot, turn my hand wheel so my thread take-up lever is popping at the top so the stitch is finished, and pull this off and cut it. And then I have a beautiful plain seam. The next step will be to press.